is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or would you like to keep talking about dreams? I know you have some interesting um, interesting abilities to have or enter into the state of hypnagogia.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps you'd like to talk about that.
Well, those are pretty weird. I think that there's a level of precognition to them, but never in any way are they some kind of crazy soothsayer dreams where I wake up and something happens. I actually haven't had a lot of experiences like that. I know that you have stuff that you've told me, and then one of our mutual friends has had experiences like that. It's weird because it'll be like for a couple months or a couple weeks span of time, and it's usually like in the summer. I don't know what that's about, but I'm noticing that because I've known her a really long time, and that will happen to her, and that's pretty weird. But I personally haven't experienced that, but I have actually don't really remember a lot of dreams, like a lot of real dreams that much. But I will say that my hypnagogues are pretty crazy, and actually the dreams I do remember tend to be kind of unpleasant, and maybe I'll talk about some of those and maybe some weird symbols and some of those actually related to paranormal.
Well, briefly, why don't we just define hypnagogia for anyone who might not be familiar with the term?
Oh, sure. Well, this probably isn't going to be explained very properly, but the best way I can put it is that it's that state of sleep before you're in total REM sleep and you're, rapid eye movement, and it'll be like when you're laying in bed and you start seeing colors, or you're laying in bed and you're starting to doze off and you hear sounds, or there can even be smells and feelings and temperatures that can get really detailed touch. Mine are mostly, sometimes I have auditory things happen, but they're usually visual. So if you've ever been in a state of that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I actually remember having a lot of these as a kid. I remember seeing a lot of colors and hearing sounds occasionally. And I really started paying attention to it when I got to college. And unfortunately, I made the mistake of getting duped into taking this Lexapro that made me feel like a total zombie, and I had horrible, horrible nightmares. But I would have these really beautiful hypnagogues, and I still do, even in my regular state of my brain without it being chemically manipulated. So I grew to, because my dreams were getting so atrocious, when I remembered them, I started really appreciating my hypnagogic experiences a lot more, and I started keeping record of them on dreamjournal.net, I believe it is. Actually went back and reread that recently and remembered some other hypnagogues I had, and I guess I'll talk about what some of these look like. One of them was that I totally forgot about till about a week ago, until I reread it. It was called I'm going to describe it as the Naked Lady Kaleidoscope. And this was back when I was having a lot of really bad dreams, and I remember I felt like it was like light outside. Like I think I went to bed ridiculously late, like 4 or 5 in the morning. And I remember just laying in my dorm at the time and dozing off, and I started seeing like a weird pattern that kind of looked like different flesh tones. And then it became more and more clear. Mind you, it was like spiraling the whole time, and it just like took up like that whole I guess your third eye view of what you're looking at. It just filled the entire thing. There was no space, there was nothing else except looking through a kaleidoscope that I realized became naked ladies. I don't know what that was about. I don't know, maybe I was looking at art or doing art or something and inspired female form, and they were all different like races. They had all different colored hair, and it made it colorful in its own way out of just like beautiful human form, and that was sort of spiraling, and I felt like that went on for a while. I felt like that was a really nice long hypnagogue. I don't remember hearing any sounds with that. I had another one that was pretty weird. I was actually dozing off over Hive's house, and it was in the middle of the day, and I remember it just started off as like a black background, like you were in some kind of vast space in another dimension of some sort. And then there was this wheel of color of it was blue, red, yellow, and green, and like a fluorescent kind of pink, I believe. And it was spinning, and it was getting rapidly faster and faster and faster, and then it stopped, and then this rainbow of color came from the bottom of it, like came straight down, and then came out like towards what I would be looking at, I suppose, and then came down like it was going down a slope, and that's all I could see of it. And then it would start spinning again. And then there was this weird powdered wig. I have no idea what that was about, but this weird powdered wig form came to like the left-hand side of this wheel, and it was askew the whole time for some reason, kind of leaning towards the left. And I don't know, the wig in a weird way kind of messed it up because it didn't quite flow with like the color wheel that I was looking at and enjoying so much in my brain. But I don't really have control over my dreams because I have a hard time with keeping track of them. So I really just couldn't get that to go away in my hypnagogic hallucinations. It was just kind of hanging out. I had actually attempted to draw this at one point. I'm trying to finish it at some point, give an idea what that may have looked like to other people. And I've had some really pleasant ones that look like art, like mermaids swimming down to, which is funny because we were just talking about how mermaids are kind of creepy and they kill people.
Yeah.
Pretty recently. But like, this was like a pretty mermaid, not like an evil siren who's gonna drown me or something horrible.
Yeah, wasn't that the same night that you had the one about like a frog prince or something like that?
It was not far apart, actually.
Okay.
It was like maybe about the same time.
Yeah, like
and
that week.
Yeah, I was having a lot of crazy, pleasant, summer-related things going on with water, and I don't know. They were really pretty though. And the mermaid was just swimming, and there was nothing around her. It was just blue, and she was just really pretty and blue. Like she had a blue tail and a blue top and long hair. I think her hair was brown, and she was just swimming down to the depths of the ocean for what seemed like forever. And then she was trying to get to a treasure chest, and it had beautiful pearls hanging out of it. And yeah, just a lot of blue going on. And I just remember it was really serene. That was nice. And then, yeah, the Frog Prince one was, his frog looked real. It was pretty cool how this one looked. Didn't look animated. It looked like a real frog. Was, but like, I don't know, almost like rotoscoping techniques were used. Like everything it popped in the image, but it looked realistic at the same time. And it was a frog, and I don't know, I know I drank wine that night. I started dozing off. And this frog was drifting on his belly, or no, his back with his belly up. And he was in this pond that wasn't blue. It was more like a gray, mucky, natural kind of color. And there were lily pads around him and trees around the pond. It may have even been like a river instead of a pond because it seemed like it was flowing. Like I could see the flow of the water, and there were like flowers in the water, and he was drifting, and it was almost like this weird dialogue went along with it, like a storybook. Like he looked like he was dead. Actually, I didn't know what was going on with that at first, but then like this weird dialogue kind of came to mind in my hypnagogic state that was like he is the Frog Prince or something like that, and he actually has a crown. And I don't know what that was about. Nothing else came of that. I didn't dream any further. It was just this like long-standing floating image of this fat little frog with his belly up, and it just looks really nice and calm, and it was very pleasant. So actually those are really great. I really enjoy those, and I've had tons of other ones. I haven't had any recently though. I haven't remembered much of anything lately, hypnagogic or otherwise. I knew I had a dream a couple weeks ago, and I remembered it until like mid-afternoon the following day, but by the time I was done my last class, it just left my brain entirely, and I really should have wrote it down at like lunch or something, and I just made that mistake, and I lost memory. So I need to practice that again. I was doing really good for a while at journaling dreams, because once you're out of it, it gets harder. That's for sure. I guess in terms of that there was I just remembered it, and I never wrote this down. Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Anyway, about the, I guess I call it the haunted house dream, and I haven't written this down anywhere. It's just been logged in my brain, and it kind of came back up. I remember that there was this house in this dream that I had. And this was like a full-on dream, and it felt really realistic. Like, it was probably one of the more lucid dreams I had. And it was actually really frightening. I remember that being really, really scary. I mean, I hate my dreams. If
you're going to talk about scary dreams, I've got a good one, but I'll let you finish yours first.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
So, there was this house, and I guess I described the sky as being really dingy and gray, overcast, like it had just rained, but then yet the grass around the entire area was dead and brown and dry looking. It was on a hill, and I felt like it was supposed to be outside of Baltimore, like a neighborhood that was really nice once, and then it was like forgotten, and there's no stores near it or row homes or anything living around it. And there was like a brick wall against the road, and then there was like an old driveway that you could barely drive up because it was all overgrown. And you went up to the property, and I guess I was doing some paranormal investigation, some legitimate kind, besides just taking photos. I guess I was going to go explore this house, and I believe that Hi was with me in the dream, and then two sisters that I'm very, very close with, and one of them in particular is interested in paranormal exploring and things of that sort. And I dreamed that we went in, and we had some cameras and stuff like that, and like an EMF reader, and it like went crazy when we got to the property. It went crazy when we got into the house. And what the house externally looked like was it was supposed to be a mansion, but it was really small. It didn't really make any sense. And it was white paint, but it looks like it was gray. And it kind of had, if you see those older houses from the 1800s, it had that shingled look to it that's normally brown, but this was painted over white. It looked gray, as I said. And it was peeling off very badly. The roof was like old black slate, and it had cathedral-shaped windows, but they were really small, and you felt like it's very Dracula-esque looking window, like bats was behind them. They kind of had that sort of appeal to them, like very standardly haunted house looking in every way, its architecture and stuff. But as I said, it was like much smaller than you would imagine it was supposed to be, and it was a 2-story home, and apparently somebody had been murdered there. That was like the Baltimore rumor apparently in the dream. And we went in, and everything in the house sort of had that same appeal to it. Everything was white and gray looking. Nothing had any sort of other coloration to it. And sort of like, this is a bad example, but sort of like in Silent Hill when like the time of day changes or whatever happens in the movie, and everything looks like it's peeling off. That's kind of how this looked, but instead of it being black, it was like gray and white, and everything was peeling. The sink, the countertop, the flooring, it was really crazy looking. It looked like just ashes, and I walked into like this kitchen area, and it just felt really scary. It was like, besides like really, really scary dreams I had on Lexapro, it had to be one of the creepiest dreams I had in my normal state of consciousness. And I almost could like feel how cold it was in the room, and the EMF detectors were like going crazy, and I just really wanted to get out of there. But then we heard noises upstairs, and I just remember it was like, I don't even think we got upstairs in the dream that I remember. It was just so scary in the downstairs of the house that we didn't want to go. And then the house started shaking. Like, it was just angry, whoever was there. And it's like I knew that the air was heavy in the dream, like all those standard feelings that there's an entity in your presence. And it was weird that I could feel it because I hadn't, at that point in time, this had to be about 2 years ago at least, I hadn't felt any paranormal experiences in my home besides my dog seeing the, I guess, the girl spirit in my house at the time. But I didn't see anything or feel anything at the time. It just wasn't acting up that bad.